Yo, bro Mando, welcome back to Action Ration. So, yeah, far left Hollywood is dying. Not really a big surprise. It's something that's been going on for a while. But it's important to me, and I've had opinions about it for a while, so I wanted to share them. Honestly, Twitter has been like the tweet-ocalypse this entire week ever since Trump released the wiretapping accusation against Obama. But since my channel is still kind of just starting up again, I thought it was more important to share something that I believe about my own wheelhouse. So here goes. If you've been going to movies for like the last 20 years, you're not really immune to the fact that Hollywood appears to be just completely out of ideas. For a while, it was the cascade of sequels and adaptations, and which kind of turned into reboots and cinematic universes. The idea that each studio owns one property and just continues to make a movie about said property until Armageddon or whatever the hell they think is going to happen. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that on a long enough timeline, that business model is going to spell their own doom. And the results of this are quite evident. I mean, movies feel more like stale, canned experiences that are all roughly the same. I hinted at this a little bit in my review of The Great Wall, but it's like you go to the movies and, you have a menu that says three things: big and dumb, Oscar bait, or foreign. And the problem is if you're young, and Hollywood targets the young, you probably don't have a lot of money, so why are you going to go spend it on just this stale, boring experience when you can turn to social media and get much more enthralling stories several times a day? You're not. And that's a huge problem for Hollywood because the average person only goes to the movie like 3 or 4 times a year now. Now, like I said in the beginning, this is fairly obvious stuff. It's been going on for a while. And I honestly don't know what the movie studio's endgame is or could possibly be. I don't know if they think they're the only competition really for that market, so it's okay to get away with a mediocre product, or if they're just too scared to take chances like some people say, or hell, I don't know, maybe if they're just playing Russian roulette with each other to see whose terrible film bombs the other first into bankruptcy. I really couldn't tell you. My guess is a bit of all three, but as a cinema geek, as a failed film scholar, and as a guy who loves to remember and reminisce about a time when movies used to kick ass, it's just a little bit frustrating, to say the least. Like, especially since most of the wounds appear to be self-inflicted. For starters, movie budgets now are out of control. 30 years ago, a big budget film was like $30 million. You can go back and look up the budgets of the films you love from the 1980s. You will probably be amazed by how cheap they were made in comparison to now. The second you say this, is people are going to start bringing up the costs of advertising. But here's the thing. I'm not talking about the costs of advertising. I'm talking about the costs of the production budgets, adjusting for inflation. $30 million back in 1980 is like $90 million today. $90 million it's not the smallest film obviously being made and released nationwide, worldwide, but it's not even close to being anywhere near the biggest. There are probably a lot of theories as to why this could be, but you're watching my video, so I'm going to share mine. I think a lot of it gets blown on just grossly inefficient practices and just overblown salaries. I mean, stop paying actors and directors $10 million, the cost of basically an entire movie in and of itself, just to be in your film. I mean, you have agents representing some people who are asking for that kinds of amount of money anytime their client basically sneezes, and studios cave in because they think that we actually still care about the name associated with the film than its actual plot. Like, newsflash. No, we don't. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Stop hiring people who want the same amount of money it costs to make a pretty decent film and just go make that film. If they're not going to work for what's reasonable, just replace them. Because, like I said, nobody cares. See, here's the thing. There's a reason why you only ever hear really about the Writers Guild going on strike. SAG sometimes. There's a reason for that. It's because the writers are the least replaceable people in Hollywood. Everyone else, top to bottom, can be replaced tomorrow, and no one would really care. It's a truth that honestly scares most of them to death. The next problem is that the film industry is heavily regulated by unions, and you can't actually make a film unless you hire 10 professional ball sniffers to sit around driving up your production budget. You could say what you want to about unions, but it's just not good for business. I actually remember being in film school, and the instructor was like, "Hey, you want to know how to get your union card real fast? Just work a non-union shoot, see? And call up the union and be like, 'Do you want to come supervise this non-union shoot?' And they'll be like, 'Why, yes we do. Welcome to the union. Here's your card, your dues are coming up next year.'" They also said if you do that, prepare to make a lot of enemies, but you know what's also grossly inefficient? Having egg-headed studio executives developing films for genres they don't even like. There's actually a really enlightening video about that by Max Landis on his channel, Up to My Knees. I'll leave a link for it as well, but yeah, it just seems kind of obvious. And maybe this is why everything good gets stuck in development hell until it's just not good anymore. And the final reasons I'll mention, and the real reasons I say good riddance to Hollywood in its current form, is 1, a lack of competition within its own circles, and 2, an obvious lack of intellectual diversity. I've talked about that a little bit before. It's fairly obvious now that Hollywood doesn't really like conservatives, and if you are openly conservative, you may have trouble getting work. And I'm not even just talking about actors. Think about the people who are just getting started, who are on set knowing that they can be let go at any time and not called back by that team when they go to make their own next film. Do you really think they're going to feel comfortable sharing their thoughts about Trump or any of right-wing politics? No, I don't think they probably would. I know I wouldn't. And the reality is that this lack of intellectual diversity within Hollywood's elite kind of just leads to this endless stream of garbage-ass, politically correct movies that, whether they mean to or not, kind of just piss off the rest of middle America. Now, as for the lack of competition, the less obvious reason, ask yourself, who is Hollywood's real competition? And by Hollywood, I mean the 6 major studios that practically act like one big conglomerate that are all out in LA, that have studio executives that have all worked for each other, that basically decide when movies are going to get released, when they're going to go to the theaters, and how much the theater is really going to charge for them. I guess maybe Disney is the real competition between all of them because it's the only studio with 2 actually functioning cinematic universes, but, it's certainly not the indies or foreign films as of yet. I mean, when you go to a movie theater, how many films do you see that are really foreign or truly independent? The answer is not many. And why can't those films be maybe shown for less? Or why aren't theaters free to have packages so people can go see what they want to see? They certainly have that for 3D or these super whatever XD digital, whatever the hell that is. The point is that the movie studio or movie theaters aren't really free to charge what they want to charge without getting some pushback from the studios that are going to supply them with the movies that people are actually going to go watch. So that's still kind of a de facto monopoly, really. And this is also why movie studios hate Netflix and YouTube, to be honest, because that's their real competition. YouTube is like Napster to these people, but instead of stealing their content, we create a freer, more engaging alternative. And so yeah, film industry is dying in its current form. Good riddance. I'd like to say that the independent market is filled with a better alternative you could turn towards, but it's not. The truth is, those people are just as much to blame as well. Stop making movies that only appeal to dumb hipsters and that show like in 2 theaters out in LA before getting buried on Netflix or lost to the sands of time somewhere. Better yet, film festivals, stop only rewarding those kind of movies. It's actually kind of funny. You'll see professionals who work in that circle of entertainment and they'll kind of just laugh off the idea of Hollywood is dying. Hollywood is always dying. Who cares? Is what they might say. And You know, I say keep laughing. That worked out great for the music industry. Anyways, that's enough out of me for one day. You know, I had thought about doing a Trump versus Schwarzenegger video at some point in the future. It's largely irrelevant after just all the insane crap that happened this week, but if y'all want to see it, let me know in the comments below, and who knows, I kind of sort of doubt we've heard the last of that one. But anyways, thanks for watching, Bromandos. I'm Thompsonator. You can subscribe for more bad opinions, and I'll see you all again real soon for more action.